I was about 4 years old when my parents separated. My mom was living in a 2-bedroom apartment at the time, one where our 2 bedrooms met at the end of a hallway. It was in the middle of summer. My mom had a window open in her room. Though I had my own, I preferred to sleep in her bed whenever I stayed with her. I got up at some point in the night and saw that our cat was sitting near the doorframe of my mom's room, gazing into the darkness that overshadowed my bedroom, gently growling. I turned to face my mom and proceeded to wake her up. After the 3 or 4 seconds it took for her to acknowledge, we both looked towards the hall and room that lay ahead, and noted the object of my concern. There was a figure lurking by my open door. Upon noticing, my mom turned on the light, only to reveal the figure in the darkness. It was a man. I don't know how she managed to do it so quickly, but my mother got a hold of me, then literally threw me out the window. She soon made her way out as well and began to yell for help. One of our neighbors heard and called the police. They came not long after, but didn't find any signs of forced entry. They did, however, conclude that our front door had been unlocked. The thing is, my mom swore up and down that she had locked the door that night, with both the deadbolt and the chain lock. A few days later, she opened the door to our water heater closet. She found a notebook, as well as a pair of gloves and some gum wrappers. Upon seeing the contents of the notebook, the police were called again, but all they could do was speculate that the man had been in our house for a while, hiding until we were asleep, to do who knows what to a mother and her 4-year-old. I was home alone with my little brother during a dark and pouring night. It was about 9 p.m. My brother and I were reading in our room when I heard someone ring and knock at our front door. I thought my parents had arrived. I then approached the door, only to hear a man yell through the torrent. "Would you like some cookies? We're selling Girl Scout cookies." I checked the peephole and saw a fully grown man who was not my father standing there, soaking on our doorstep with no box in sight. Gut-wrenched, I secured the locks. They were, after all, the only thing separating me and my brother from a potential monster. But the man persisted. I considered calling the police. However, I then remembered that the blinds were open in my room where my brother was, with the light still on. I turned the corner into the doorway, only to see the man standing outside our window, eyeing my brother. I quickly turned off the lights and ran over to the window to close the blinds. I told my brother to go hang out in one of our closets. We waited there until my hope of the man leaving came to pass. Luckily, nothing occurred that night, but thinking of it still gives me chills, knowing that so many things could have gone wrong if I had only opened that door. It was the middle of summer, and my parents had left for the weekend. The first night I was alone, I stayed up till 3 in the morning playing Xbox, so I woke up really late the next day. When I woke up, I checked my phone and saw it was a little past 1. I had made plans that day with my friends at 3. So reluctantly, I got up and stumbled into the shower. I was in there when I heard my front door slam shut. The bathroom is directly up the stairs from the back door, which is pretty loud when closed. I froze. Since the house was supposed to be alone, I waited for about 2 minutes trying to hear anything, but nothing. I figured it might have been the wind, or that my parents were just home early. So I proceeded slowly down the stairs to check it out, trying to be as quiet as possible, turning the corner into the kitchen. Standing about 2 feet away from me was a man staring straight at me, perfectly still with a massive smile across his face. The thing I remember most vividly were his arms. They were bent in the most unnatural way. Though on the brink of a heart attack, I punched him as hard as I could in the jaw and beelined up the stairs. I rushed into my room, locked the door, and immediately called 911, telling the operator what happened. I sat on the floor of my room, staring at the door, praying that a cop would be here soon, but then noticed there was no light coming from the gap underneath my door. The intruder was right on the other side. All the while, the 911 operator was asking,
"Sir, are you there? Sir? Hello?"
I couldn't make a sound. Eventually, the light returned to the gap and I heard footsteps creaking down the wooden floorboards. It was silent for minutes, until I heard a siren outside my house and the sound of 2 officers entering it. At last, feeling safe, I came out. The police never found who was in my house. It's something that chills me every time I look outside, as I half expect to see him standing across the street, smiling under a lamppost.